You spent night after night in these same shadows.
Ugh.
Prowling, hunting, hiding.
Ugh. Welcome back to Batwoman, ladies and gentlemen. We're approaching the halfway point for this series, finally. This is episode 7 and episode 8, and then there's a special, and the series took a break for a few months afterwards, I believe. But it's back by the time that I record this, and it's all the way up to the finale in episode 20, which is brilliant. Now, like I said, since it's already out, I'm just going to keep reviewing it like usual, but apparently season 2 is up and coming and it looks even worse than the first one, so whatever happens, happens. I'm scared. I do want to say that there's been a lot more people on Wish for Death Island, population me, and you know, I am working on making videos better. I was kind of just used to dumping my opinions out there before, but looking back on my past videos, I do talk too fast and cut things off too quickly sometimes, and so I'm working on that now. This is giving me the excuse to actually have a standard and hopefully make it better over time. Just letting you know about that. Anyhow, let's continue on with the cringe. Oh look, it's the opening to the platform, but I think this one is going to give me nightmares for a different reason. There's a sniper aiming at people inside, but the target has AirPods in so he can't hear us. Anyway, the sniper gets yeeted before they can do anything and the shot misses the person, hitting the wall. Everybody fucking panics, but Batwoman is here so that's fine, I guess. She's walking down the alley and realizes that Black Lightning is following her.
Did you ever let yourself trust anyone?
Kate!
How'd that work out for you?
Trust no one. Except Speedwagon. Black Lightning has a gun on her, but Kate's cape is apparently immune to guns and bombs and fire and literally everything else as far as we can see from the last episodes besides getting hit by a van, I guess. So what does she hope to achieve with this? And no one ever thinks to hit her constantly exposed cheeks and chin? Nor does anyone take a photo of her and use the structure of her exposed face to identify her, so if people on the internet were capable of finding the fucking Bike Lock Berkeley guy, I think that they can find you. Black Lightning asks Kate to tell Jacob who she is, and Kate says no, and just throws herself up into a building wall. I slowed it down and it really does seem like she just slammed herself into the fucking wall instead of going in. Even the CGI couldn't recreate it. With all of this shit, it's revealed that they didn't actually end up catching the guy either, they kinda just fucked around and let him leave. The crows that showed up must have just stood around and Jacob himself throughout the episode is being extra pissy, but you'll understand why by the end of it. He's also obsessed with Batwoman, but that's kind of the usual, and catching her because he's on his period. It cuts to this blonde British cunt who says that it's time that she made a trip to Gotham. Gee, I wonder if she's a fucking lesbian too. I heard that Kate has a vacancy after the last blonde left. The restaurant guy is interviewed and this looks like a fucking Wham City comedy sketch. Like, this is a cheap show, but the cheapness only really shows because of the bad writing, and I don't even have to mention it most of the time, but the camera shaking is horrible. I keep expecting Alan Resnick or some other Adult Swim guy to come in and start talking about Lovecraft beings up their asses and sell you a fake product. Back in the Batcave, Luke walks in on Kate practicing fighting with herself on the walkway, while some bootleg fucking AWOL Nation sounding bullshit plays in the background. Trust no one, not even Speedwagon. Alright, we get it, flips and shit. You know, when they do scenes like this, people usually have something like a dummy or a machine or even like a VR thing going on so they can fight with someone. There's a method and a purpose with the equipment, a focus if you will. They're not just doing the physical equivalent of slam poetry. I think it's funny how the premise of the show is when Kate says in the first episode, "Never let a man take credit for a woman's work," and then this follows up with the body double for these types of scenes that are all clearly male because she can't do it herself. Luke mentions that he is actually doing work to figure out their mystery, and Kate decides that the best course of action is to change the subject to talk about her fifis because Black Lightning still believes that Kate is Batwoman and is going to tell Jacob about it, which is going to be a blow to their family after the Asian mum came out as the fucking weirdo who faked a child's death and all that. Anyhow, this leads to her flashback where she thinks about a makeout scene that she had with Black Lightning while they were still in the training thing. She concludes this makeout flashback, and I assume that Luke was just standing there the entire time while she either zoned out for that duration of this flashback or she was describing it to him, and knowing that how he reacts to the sex word in the 4th episode, he might have an actual heart attack this time.
Convince the hell out of her not to tell your dad who you are.
After informing me of this sex scene, I have come to the conclusion that you must tell her you don't want her to tell anyone. Meanwhile, Black Lightning is at the Crow headquarters and wait, who the fuck is this guy? Who is this guy? Oh yeah, that's the fucking husband. That's the husband. I haven't seen this guy in so long. It's been 84 fucking years. He confronts her because she claimed that she didn't have a chance to talk to Batwoman before she flew off, but she is seen on the CCTV doing just that. She's also been acting weird lately in general. I love how in the first episode, and when Alice was stealing skin that one time, the crows just forgot that cameras are a thing and Kate or Luke had to do it themselves and then send the footage to the crows instead. And then in all the episodes following that, they just used the cameras for fucking everything. It cuts to the two Asian characters, and the daughter is complaining about how after all this time it took for Kate to finally accept her as a sister, the mum ruined it all by revealing the truth about the fact that she faked her child to death. Asian mum, however, is not having it.
I have enough going on right now without another guilt trip.
Stop guilt-tripping me for something that I literally did on my own proven nefarious reasons and have clearly done bad things for you that are also my fault. Also, according to her phone call, they finally figured out that someone had broken in and stole their weird gun thing.
Oh my god.
Then the sniper is on the move again, so Kate has to go and find out what to do. Luke points to where he is once she arrives on the scene, but she sees him with her own eyes anyway, like a stone's throw away, so what was the point of that?
Heads up. Second heat signature 30 feet to the west.
I see him too.
He also seems to have a pretty good shot, but he isn't taking it for some reason, so I'm not sure what the delay is. Maybe he's waiting for the bass to drop on his favorite song before shooting to feel good. Some other hooded dumbass shows up and they start fighting over who gets to take the bad guy down instead of just taking the bad guy down. You'd think that vigilantes would want to do it without getting in each other's way because, you know, righteousness and all that, but they're just trying to figure out who gets to take the credit for it. The sniper still doesn't take the shot either, so I assume he was just watching both of them, but he starts getting away.
Not another step, Batwoman. I'll be bringing him in.
We get her voice reveal while her head is still covered, and then we get her face reveal right afterwards anyway while they're standing around, and the sniper already escaped, so I don't understand what happened with the beginning scene. The way they structured it is that it's supposed to be a huge mystery. Who is this new person? What is she doing? Is it even a woman? So why reveal her at the beginning? Any normal show would have just had her appear and be revealed to the audience at the same time as Batwoman, because I don't really know what the case is for dramatic irony for this character alone. Not that there's any setup for that anyway. Again, with the bad stuff putting mystery bits in the beginning. What, is she gonna kill Joel now too when we have to like her by the end of the game? Alfred's daughter fucking sucks. Oh yeah, that's who it is.
After all, I taught it to you.
Julia Pennyworth. Figured Alfred would have taught you better manners.
Also, something that I noticed about the show is that they do a lot of things arbitrarily because they think that you're supposed to do these things in shows, but they don't know how to execute them, so they just kind of include them. They also want to have a sense of drama to pad the runtime, so it's kind of a formality. When I was 11, I was for the first time really getting into the fantasy epic genre, so I naturally wanted to start writing a book. I had written short stories up to that point in the little kid kind of way, so I didn't really understand the huge difference between a novel and a short story, but my idea was really stupid. It was just Lord of the Rings but with cats. Being a kid, my problem was that when I would get to a scene I really wanted to write, I also knew that between that scene and the next scene that I really wanted to write would be a bunch of scenes that I needed to connect the two with. I needed to create a coherent story with them. But being a kid, I didn't really understand that I needed to actually write them properly, and I would kind of just rush them instead because I was bored and didn't think that anyone would notice. For example, the characters would have this really big fight that I really wanted to write, but I also didn't want to write the lead up to or the aftermath of the fight and all of the character development in between, so I just kind of would have these characters talking and there's supposed to be some really difficult decision that would make you think that they'd be talking for a really long time, but then one of them would just go, "But let's do the thing," and the other one go, "Okay," and then they just move on to the fight scene immediately. And then during the fight scene, even though one of them got like this really big wound, the other one would just be like, "I have a plaster for you," and they'd be like, "Okay," and they just leave because they got bored trying to write the injury. This is what I feel like is happening in this show. It seems like they thought it would be too convenient if she just showed up on the scene and immediately found the sniper, so they wanted her to have to look for it with Luke's guidance, but they also didn't care about that part and they wanted to get to the drama with Alfred's daughter, so instead they just kind of had him pointed out in 5 seconds. It defeats the whole purpose. There's so many instances of this happening in the show entirely, it's just kind of a miracle. Batwoman tells her to get the fuck off her turf and the bad guy catches up to the target and kills him. Because fuck checking on the target if the bad guy escapes. Just in case. Good job, guys. But the bad guy is revealed to be working for... Oh no, not you!
Oh, fuck!
He's confused about why he killed for her, and she has Mouse explain the exposition. Both of the men were the only scientists who could have built the gun, so they could have only one now, and if it breaks, they're not going to repair it. Alice demonstrates this by loudly blasting a hole into some random alley that someone must have heard somewhere. But all of this is retarded because they could have easily just used a normal gun to shoot Batwoman on her actual fucking face at any given time. It's kind of strange how Alice knows who Kate is, and all of her henchmen know who Kate is as well, so you'd think that some of the other bad guys would know who she is. Wouldn't they be able to just show up and shoot her? Christ, the woman uses the exact same bike that she uses as a normal person, so they would know it was her. Kate and Blonde too do that stupid banter thing I hate where they're like, I taught you that move. Well, yeah, I'm a better fighter. I taught you some moves too. As if they didn't just let the fucking killer go. And he got to kill who he was intending to kill. That's on their head. Oh yeah, and Blonde Requiem over here is attracted to Kate too. What a shocker.
Oh, he's still not over her then?
She's married
Oh my god.
to a man.
Oh, bombs!
But Kate is confused by her drama with her dad and Black Lightning, so she tells Blonde the Second to fuck off for now. Honestly, the way that they treat the Batcave, it's more like a den than a cave. Everyone just goes in there for a spot of tea or sees them doing some secret bookcase opening anyway. You know, I noticed that Kate always flirts with or has a few sex scenes with the blonde, but never ends up with the blonde, or anyone for that matter. I think it's like this. She's like Google. It's super easy to use, so everyone uses it for the input, but the output is so substandard that they realize the alternatives are better. We get a follow-up flashback to the flashback from before. They're arguing on the bed and not fucking. Kate is all about being out and proud and saying she's gay and taking the consequences, but, you know, she doesn't really take the consequences. Black Lightning says her parents hate gays and think rainbows are a sign of the degenerate sinners, so she wants to hide some more until she has the resources to take care of herself without sacrificing everything. So, more of a mature response given the circumstances. This entire spat these two have as characters in general throughout the entire series is entirely based off of sexuality and not really anything that's to do with the two of them together. Kate wants to stick it to society without trying to think about it first, and Black Lightning wants to be smart about sticking it to society when she feels ready, but Kate doesn't want to wait for her and then blames her for it. Kate says if we lie, then why are we here? And learned nothing from the entire conversation, refusing to hear her girlfriend out. And also talks about how amazing it is that they're women on this training academy exercise because sex isn't bad. Girl power.
We're women.
Nothing happens.
They go on about how they beat all of the records because they're women and women are geniuses. And then they end with her saying that she won't lie and they won't expel her because she's awesome. Even though if you break the rules, they'll expel you anyway, so what the fuck. Back in the present, Kate invites Black Lightning out to dinner so they can talk about this Batwoman business, and she can see what Black Lightning knows. Possibly also to reconcile and explain everything. The bullet from the beginning is there on the fucking wall because the crows didn't bother taking it in for evidence? Nor did the police or Batwoman, or Luke for that matter, even though the guy who shot it has now killed again and they still don't know who he is. What is crime solving? Kate then asks Black Lightning to do something for her and is met with a completely normal response of, tell me what it is first, to which Kate does that annoying thing and goes, just trust me. Oh no, Bigot Sandwiches man doesn't like when the women hold hands. It's really funny to me in shows like this when all of the homophobes are so extra that even when women are just sharing the smallest bit of skin contact, it just sends them off. Newsflash, women do that a lot. She could be comforting her friend for all he knows, and he must have seen women do that a bunch of times anyway. My female friends hug way more than any of my male ones. It's just a thing. If they were dudes holding hands, I would get that thinking that they're gay was a thing because men don't do that as much, but the women thing, women do that all the time. Like, calm down, do you get freaked out when they show their ankles? But he confronts them by acting like they can't eat in here because of the shoe dress code, and she calls him out on this bullshit.
Then admit that the only thing offensive about my shoes is me.
Thought that was a cool line, didn't you? She also threatens to shut down the entire establishment and loudly screams about him being homophobic to all of the other patrons. Now, don't get me wrong, someone kicking someone out for being gay is really sucky, and if I knew that that had happened to one of my friends, I wouldn't go to that place. I wouldn't take my business there, that sucks. But surely there is a better way to do this. Like maybe going to a diner across the street and openly flaunting your gayness so he can see it every time he looks out the window, but he can't do anything about it because it's not on his property or something like that. Like, being classy about it, being polite to his face and then taking it somewhere else, doing everything legally and peacefully so that he complains about it because he's homophobic and any other normal, reasonable person would be completely fine with it because you're going about your business without disturbing anyone else. That's the smart way to do it. The kind of thing that Black Lightning would do. And especially because when they leave, because they get kicked out, Black Lightning's not happy at what Kate did, but Kate can't understand why. Black Lightning confesses that she was going to come out with Kate and get expelled in the military, but Jacob showed up at the last minute and talked some sense into her by saying that this isn't how you do things. The better option is to get your qualifications and then come out afterwards so you can have a good life and also be yourself, and a place that's not going to punish you for it, because that's how you can have the resources to change things and actually put plans into action in the real world, not doing this shit and having no plan because ego like Kate. Not everything is a dramatic showdown, some things just don't work. The only reason that it would destroy the relationship is because Kate is a fucking idiot and her personality is really bad and abusive at times. Jacob is totally right and rational, and yet he's still the bad guy in the show for some fucking reason. Kate is now mad at her dad even more for convincing Black Lightning to do the adult thing. Why is this still a controversy 7 episodes in? Kate refuses to grow as a person for 7 episodes. Why are they still standing there outside in the middle of the street when they could have gone somewhere more intimate to ramp up the drama of the scene in a closer space? Why is there so much weird camera shake in this episode? Top 10 questions science still can't answer. But Black Lightning says that she managed to get out, provide for her family, and get a job with Jacob, someone who does know that she's into women and doesn't care, so she has a great setup where she can really be herself. Kate says that the trade-off for all of this was losing her, which I don't see as a trade-off because it's not a negative. Kate just sucks.
That's what it looks like when it comes out naturally.
Girl, what did that girl just say, girl?
That's what it looks like when it comes out naturally.
After this nonsense, she goes back to talk to Blonde Experience and Luke about the sniper again. As they're going into the Batcave, Asian happens to walk in, and I guess that there's another person who knows now. She says she bribed the desk girl, who they have a desk girl now, with coffee to let her in. Mary points out that Kate isn't even doing anything with her real estate company and her assistants are just friends, that they're meeting up at midnight, so it's really fucking weird. Oh yeah, what happened to the real estate firm? What's going on with that? You don't have enough time for a relationship, but you do have enough time for this, but you don't, and you're really bad at lying, so how the fuck does that work? Kate's alibis are so bad that saying that she has a secret satanic sex orgy every week would probably make more sense than the real estate firm. I would watch Eyes Wide Shut CW edition. I would love to see them attempt that. Meanwhile, Asian Mom and Jacob are talking and Black Lightning decides to just show up and join in. Jacob makes a good point about people just showing up for no reason, but she makes Asian Mom leave so that she can inform him that Kate is Batwoman, and this bass drop plays. I guess that was the thing that the sniper was listening to from before.
Sir, she's your daughter. Kate is Batwoman.
She continues to explain while Jacob looks very engaged. It then shows that Alice has her henchmen back this episode despite them not being mentioned at all before, and she gives the gun to the sniper so that he can go kill Batwoman, even though Alice would have been able to send her henchmen or something to do this at any time if she really wanted to. But she has some deal with this guy to do with the gun, so he gets to do what he wants. I'll explain that part later though, it's a bit fucky. Back to the flashback, Black Lightning says that they should keep their distance, and I think this is a great idea. Drop the hoe. Thoughts are temporary, chicken nuggies are forever. But once Kate is gone, Black Lightning walks into the hall to see someone taking down Kate's medal. She goes on about how amazing Kate is at every class she's ever taken and can truly never be removed even if you remove her. And she takes the medal. She even mentions Kate did some of the assessments drunk, which shows that she doesn't actually take authority seriously, and this could mean someone dying in the field and that being a bad thing. But I guess in this show it just shows how cool she is, because fuck authority. But I guess we have to keep having other characters talking about how amazing Kate is because Kate cannot show it herself because she is inept. Where have I seen that before? Asian lady comes in and apparently they're slowly patching things up because faking a death of your husband's daughter is nothing more than
complicated.
They're on the move again to check the sniper, and Black Lightning runs up to Batwoman, who she confronts before Kate just turns up anyway and... Blonde Electric Boogaloo is actually Batwoman in this scene. Jacob is like, we got Batwoman, let's take her to the van, instead of worrying about who the fuck shot her. Which, there's a twist at the end of the episode which reveals why he was doing this, but my question is, why did none of the crows think of this as a strange thing? So this entire thing was for Kate to convince Black Lightning that she isn't really Batwoman by having Blonde Act 2 be there instead. But then Black Lightning is immediately suspicious of why Kate is in the fucking crime scene in the first place, when she has no business there and she's not qualified. Their facial structures are also different, but that's never brought up. They could have even done some hack shit where they're in some normal setting and like Black Lightning is having dinner with Kate and then they stage some danger scene to happen with Luke so that the fake Batwoman could come in and save the day while Kate is present in front of Black Lightning and no one would actually get hurt. I actually expected them to do that and then fuck it up, but they did something worse. Then she grabbed pistol and goes, I'm going to take care of things, which shows her as even more suspicious. This reminds me of that one meme from Taken, well, of like the 30 cuts to jump the fence in one shot. Like there's so many edits to mask the lack of anything that's going on here that I don't know what the fuck is happening. Since Kate has been established as a good shot, she upends the truck with one shot and fights off two massive crows that are way bigger than her to get Blonde back somehow. Back at Alice's trash villa, she reveals that she switched the ammo of the gun so it wouldn't actually kill Batwoman, and she lied to the sniper. He gets angry about this and brings up the name of the boss, who Alice apparently doesn't like. Okay, here's where I explain the deal. He works for someone named fucking Sapphira or something, and she wants the gun from Alice. So she sent this guy to bargain for it, and Alice said that she would give them the gun only if he kills all of the other people who know how to repair or make the gun. So this is the only gun that they have, and if it breaks it'll be unusable from that point on. So once he actually killed the scientist, she switches the bullets, and her plan is to destroy the gun to the point where no one can use it anymore before giving it to him. They can't actually use it to kill Batwoman or anything, and she's technically upholded her deal and they can't get it fixed. That's what he was trying to do in the previous scene, and that's why he's angry now. Why doesn't the big boss just kill Alice? I assume because her gang is apparently so terrifying that no one can defeat Alice, but there's like 5 members in it sometimes, so I don't even know. Why doesn't Alice just kill the scientists herself and then use something else as a bargaining chip to cheat the sniper out of the gun? I guess that would take more effort. But my whole thing is, at that point, what are you gonna do when she comes back for revenge? Because I don't think she does in this season. I think they just fuck off afterwards. But back at the Batcave, once again, Blonde Return had broken her ribs from the fall, and that's all that happened despite there being multiple floors. This is like episode 4 again. All she needed is some ice and a wrap that you're totally supposed to do for ribs. I didn't read anywhere that you're not supposed to wrap ribs. Instead of maybe going to the bootleg hospital that the Asian lady runs or something. She says that Bruce didn't trust anyone, and that's why he could disappear so quickly, but that's not a good thing. I'm pretty sure in his line of work it is. Kate is actually doing real estate stuff now and makes this place a gay bar across the street from the homophobe. Why didn't you just do that in the first place instead of making a big deal? Anyway, Black Lightning comes in and implies that she knew that Cat shot the crow's van, but she smiles, not caring if her colleagues are dead. And her own pistol was also used, so maybe they would find it and think that you yourself did it? But I guess that doesn't matter either. Maybe they'll just frame the shot on the wall in the precinct, because fuck evidence. But she gives Kate the medal, and Kate says that it's best that they keep their distance from each other, so they all have a cry. But Blonde Reprise says that she's going to go because she's been tracking down the sniper man and she needs to find him now that he's on the move again, because they never caught him this episode. She isn't even mad about the fact that the only reason that she didn't catch this guy after God knows how long of tracking him is because of Kate and her ego, but I guess that's okay because she has an ego too. In the meantime, Alice's other plan was revealed by showing that Mouse is actually Jacob the entire episode, and the real Jacob was out on some lead that was useless and he was gone for a few days, but he's coming back soon. Mouse is also asked to get some poison from Asian Mom and also more information out of her and disrupt the crows in general, I guess. But how the fuck did they manage this? Like, hear me out. Hey guys, I'm back. Boss? Did you just say that you were going to go out for a week? You said that like 5 minutes ago. What are you doing back here? Yeah, but I'm back now. Not explaining why. Also, in a week, I'll walk in and act like I'm confused about why you guys act like I'm still here when I say that I wasn't here the entire time, so it'll be really confusing and I'll act like I don't know what you're talking about, but that's just me planning a prank in advance, okay? Don't worry about that. But what about all the eyewitnesses and phone records and bank records that show that you really were away, yet you're also on CCTV here, and we know that someone in Alice's gang can use skin to transform themselves and pretend to be different people, and you're acting like Jacob normally doesn't act anyway. I'm on my period. Alice also finally remembers that she has a Lewis Carroll gimmick going on and says some references.
The most memorable mad tea party Gotham has ever seen.
What a story, Mark.
In the opening monologue for this one, Kate brings up hope, and it's one of those episodes.
And despite my own fear that I've lost my sister forever, I choose hope.
He arrives on the scene with one of Alice's henchmen and steals his jacket after snapping her own fucking equipment. Luke uses this to track down where Alice is. Surprise, surprise, she's in a warehouse. Isn't she always in a warehouse? But she explains to Kate that she has the gun, saying it's the only one in existence, despite the fact that Luke had clearly showed in one of the other episodes that Bruce had one as well. But then Kate asks Alice one more time if she can just stop killing people and turn herself in, which didn't work last time, but all Alice's goons come out to threaten Kate and Kate leaves. Jacob, the real one, is on the phone with someone saying that he'll be home soon. If this was a woman in this scene, by the way, I guarantee that she would have beat up all of the bad guys anyway, despite the size difference, but Jacob just gets overwhelmed, despite having more experience. Okay, But then Kate and Asian are doing up the bar because Kate has a bar now, the firm at the same time. And Mary makes the point that Asian mom is evil, but Alice is even more evil, but yet Kate chooses to give Alice the chance after chance after chance, but not the mom. So Kate really has no room to speak on anything. Kate then insinuates that Asian isn't family, but Alice is the real family, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, because Asian is the one you actually grew up with, who acts like a family, who supports you like a family, and Alice is a stranger who murders people and is crazy. But you have to cause drama somehow. This is the hero. Fake Jacob, or Facob if you will, declares that he and Asian mom are gonna get back together, and some of the crows seem confused, but some seem to catch on to the fact that not acting like himself at all. We know this as the audience, because we understand that it's not him. But they have no excuse to not see something is wrong, because it's not that subtle. Alice then shows that she has the real Jacob, and she once again launches into her stupid thing about him not looking for her, and forces him to apologize because he was trying to be a grown-up and wouldn't have known otherwise. How many times do we have to sit through all of this shit? She explains that she's going to have a tea party and just leaves him dangling there. But Kate starts going insane because Asian mom is apparently worse than Alice in her eyes.
Alice was brainwashed against her own will. This is different.
The fact that Jacob is taking her back is making her angry. But so far she hasn't been suspicious enough to wonder why he suddenly changed his mind, even though she knows about the skin thing and the fact that anyone around her could be a fake at any moment. Once she does figure out that it's a Facob, she calls him and does that thing where you add fake details to a story to see if the person knows that there's fake details. Black Lightning and husband are having a conversation in the meeting room while everyone is setting up for the security thing that they have planned tonight, which is where Asian mom is going to be delivering a speech from her company. They're having a moment because husband has caught on to the fact that Kate is somehow involved in why Black Lightning is acting weird and distant from him. Facob comes in and shoots both of them with these darts that instantly knock them out as soon as it touches them. He ties them up and leaves them there, while in a limo on the way to the event, he and Asian mom drink something that I assume the poison is in. Meanwhile, Alice comes back to her hideout with her stupid walk cycle, pleads with her to not be an evil person and let Jacob go. But it's too late because she already put him somewhere and she's not telling. Meanwhile, Luke also realizes that the crows at the event are actually Alice's gang that Facob put there instead.
Oh, crap.
Black Lightning and husband have another moment and she lets it slip that Kate is still in love with her, while they're tied up and the fucking killer is on the loose. Asian mom gets to speak up at the event, and the graphics design is my passion prompter has been taken over by the gang and informs her of the predicament. This includes having to read the not Comic Sans but close to Comic Sans message that they put there, which also explains why her company is big bad.
Is that the true villains of Gotham don't go by the name Joker, Riddler, or Alice?
How is Alice standing there when everyone knows who she is? She is the most wanted in Gotham. The poison conveniently kicks in just as she finishes and she falls down and the lights go out. Batwoman drops down at supersonic speed and flies around kicking all the bad guys, but there's so many this time, oh no. Black Lightning and husband have been placed in these chairs that have clearly been moved to the position that they are in now, but they don't try to move the chairs at all to get out. They just kind of sit around until Black Lightning mysteriously gets the cuffs off of them. She makes this comment about how she doesn't want to play by the rules anymore, and they go off, but they don't seem to care about any of this at all. They don't have any concern over the fact that everyone they know could be dead. Are we sure that they're not replaced by lizard people? Asian mom and daughter are now on the ground backstage, and daughter has a knife now. She angrily swings it at Alice. Alice launches into yet another big thing about her life and blames everyone and says that she has the antidote, but both of them are poisoned, and because she hates Asian mom because of her tragic backstory, she's not gonna give it to them until they play along. Daughter conveniently starts showing symptoms just now, but they only have enough to cure one person, so the poison is some like super strong thing that's really rare. Daughter suggests splitting it, but mom literally says,
Oh no, Alice would have accounted for that.
Then what the fuck that nigga gonna do?
well, if the plot says it's your time, I guess that's that.
Mary, I am your mother.
Batwoman catches up with Alice, finally,
Where's my dad?
and both of them have another fucking conversation about how Alice has had a bad life. This is the third time and she said the same thing. Kate is just growling the entire time because Ruby Rose doesn't know what anger is. Mom confesses that she knew about the bootleg hospital and dies. Now I don't have to clarify which Asian I'm talking about anymore, at least. She takes longer to die than in an Indian soap opera, and they sing like 3 songs in a row before they die. I don't know what the fuck. By the way, did you know that there's an Indian James Bond movie called Eeg, where it's James Bond but he's a fly, and that's literally the entire thing. He even has a human love interest. How the fuck does that work? Jacob, the real one, wakes up in a car and gets confused when he calls Kate and she asks him who he is, even though he knows that there's an imposter going around, so he could at least get to explaining. The police show up and arrest him for the Asian mom's death because he was framed, but they don't even tell him why they're arresting him or read his rights to him, which is illegal. But meanwhile, Asian goes off at Kate. Husband have a lot to say about how Jacob was the real culprit and all the evidence they have, but that doesn't matter because I guess no one wants to hear that. She also gives up and finally confesses that she doesn't know how she feels anymore and husband splits up with her. Kate says that she chose hope but lost everything else, including Alice, and everyone smashes their desks to show how angry they are. Kate talks to Jacob as he's being held and she pretends to try to give a fuck about acting. He promises to kill Alice when he gets free, but he won't do anything. We also get a post-credit sequence for the next part that I'm not going to show you or explain any of that because it's a surprise. Anyway, fuck this garbage. I don't know what's worse, this or Netflix, but I guess at least this doesn't have pedophilia in it. By the way, I've been working on the Yandere Dev Part 2 video. Yes, that's still a thing, it's gonna be coming along soon.
Then what the fuck that nigga gonna do?